Tonight, Phoenix, the first, I got to speak on a topic called big time, but now we're talking about distance. Question, shout it out. How tall am I?
5'10".
Okay, all right. Those are all outstanding numbers, but I have a question for you. Whoa, what happened? Did we switch it? That's okay, but this is my distance. This is my time thing again. Well, when I talked about time, that's fine. We can work with this. When I talked about time, I expanded it and showed you the whole history of the earth from here to here. But now we're going to do about distance, and I'm going to change the perspective of that. When you shouted out how tall I was, nobody told me how many millimeters I was. No one told me how many fractions of a mile I was. Because that's not the frame of reference that we work with when we're talking about that. So let's change the frame of reference. Let's talk about big things distance-wise. The sun, 93 million miles away. Nobody in this room knows how many a single million miles is. How do we know what 93 million is? So science helps us with that. Science tells us that light from the sun takes 8 seconds to reach us. Fantastic. That's really fast. If you turned off a light switch right now on the sun, it would take 8 seconds before it would go dark here. Great. But how the hell fast does light travel? No one knows how fast light travels. Okay, light travels about 1 billion kilometers an hour, or 6,007, whatever that big number on the bottom is, miles per hour. Again, we don't have the perspective for that. That's too mind-boggling big of a number. Those distances don't really matter. So a friend of mine, Phil Plait, wrote a book called Death from the Skies, and he says if you were to get in your car and drive a highway to the sun, such a thing existed, it would take you 170 years. That's how far the sun is. But I'd fly in a plane, and it would take 2 decades to get into a plane and fly to the sun. If you could. That's far! That's a long ways away, and there's nothing in between us, except for these 2 things. That would be Saturn and Mercury, but whatever. That's the only things in between us and that entire 170-year, 2-decade journey. Nothing. You wouldn't encounter anything until you smacked into the sun and you get a bad sunburn. What about the moon? Something closer to us, but still really far. The moon is plus or minus 250,000 miles away. That's a really long way. But again, what's 250,000 miles? We don't understand that. What's that take? Well, it took these guys 3 days, 3 hours, and 49 minutes to get there in the Apollo rocket ship thing, which we haven't been back since, right? But how fast did that go? It doesn't travel in any sort of a speed reference that helps us understand what that is. So we go back to my friend Phil, and he says if you could get into a car and drive to the moon, you would arrive if you left right now, September 21st, 2009. You might want to pee before you leave. That's still really, really far, but what if I flew? I'd be there next month, on March 13th. Next month! That blue, where the heck is it right now? I don't know, but it's not very far. But it is really, really far. That's how far away things are, that we start thinking about these distances, we don't realize it. This ticked me off. In Star Wars, basically said, you got to know where you're going if you're traveling in hyperspace, you might hit a star or something. But you will not hit a star by accident in the universe. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, it's on the hoof right down there where the 4.2 is 4.2 light years away. You know what's between us and that? Nothing! Big distances. But let's go small, because small is the new big, right? Let's talk about DNA. It's in each and every one of us, right? We've all got DNA inside of us made up of these 4 little simple things. You may not know this, so I'll give you a little piece of scientific trivia. Inside of each one of your cells contains chromosomes, and if you stretched out those chromosomes and reached out the DNA, each strand, the length of DNA inside of every single cell is 6 feet. Not in all cells together, you understand, but in each and every one of your cells. This little gap where the building blocks are, the amino acids, is only 20 angstroms. So if you were to stretch out a piece of DNA to where it was as wide as a street that you could drive cars on, we've been doing the car thing for a while, right? If you were to stretch out DNA into some magical car ride road, that road that you could drive on would be 2.9 million miles long. Each strand of DNA. Take you 6 years to do it by car, or you could fly there and be there in 226 days. Each piece of DNA inside of your system. Anyhow, my name is Evo Terra. You can find me on Google. I use a lot of things from Flickr. Everything's Creative Commons licensed. Thanks for coming to Ignite 3. I got another one on big numbers we might do next time. Who knows? See ya.